Hello there, and a big welcome to Esther Armata, who is joining me on our recorded webinar this evening. Thanks for joining me, Esther. My name is Lisa Sauer. I am a registered nurse on the Sunshine Coast of Australia, and I'm super excited to be here with you guys today. I became a nurse to help people live their healthiest lives, and 4 years ago was introduced to something that has completely revolutionized health and wellness as we know it. We're not talking about supplementation, we're talking about activation. I do want to do a disclaimer right from the start so I don't forget to do it throughout the video, and that is that we do not claim to treat, prevent, cure or mitigate disease. What we do is activate the body, and through the process of nutrigenomics and applying that knowledge, we get to activate the body in a way that yields some really amazing results. So Esther's here with me this evening to help share and some of the results that she's had with her family, and in particular with her gorgeous little son, Marcus. And I can't wait to do this with you, Esther. This is so exciting. So let's get on to you. Can you explain to me what you've experienced and what life was like for you prior to LifeVantage or Pretend coming into your life?
Oh my goodness. Oh, thank you, Lisa, for having me, first of all. Okay, so although it's only been a short period of time, it's been about, I'm going to say, close to 6 to 8 months. It feels like a long time ago. I have to say that with my son, when he was diagnosed with autism, it was, I have to say, it was troubling, and I stressed a lot over it. But what I did was I took the energy that I had and I dove into researching about it, how to treat the body naturally, or how to support the body naturally. So there were a lot of late nights on the computer doing a lot of research. And our family life was extremely stressful. As a mother, you always worry about your children. It doesn't matter what's going on, you will always worry about your children. So I had a lot of anxiety. It was really, really tough.
Wow. And that would have played out in terms of not just Marcus. I mean, Marcus having that going on, I mean, no one wants to feel like they're labelled, and I know that he's quite young, so it's not that he would have understood a label, but he would have known that there are differences between him and his friends, and he obviously, some of the behaviours that he has and some of the issues that he was facing would have affected you guys, as a family. So it's not that it's just one person affected it. It has like a ripple effect outside of that, doesn't it?
Exactly. I think that for him and our family, his major issue was communication. So when you have a hard time communicating, just think of yourself, if someone were to put a Band-Aid over your mouth, how would you be able to communicate to others? Through expression, maybe through your hands, whatever that may be. But it was a really tough time. And of course, like you said, it sort of rolled over into the rest of our family lives.
That would have been so frustrating. I mean, that communication is something we take for granted because we're, doing it all day, every day. But I imagine not being able to effectively communicate what you want or what you need, that would roll into a lot of frustration. That would have to lead to frustration. There's just no way that you couldn't, and that's going to play out obviously in other areas as well, which is crazy. And Marcus also had some eczema going on, didn't he? He was having
Yeah, so he basically had eczema since he was 15 months old, and it was at varying stages. So quite often, literally from basically the neck down, his body was riddled. There was a time period where we had to put these special gloves so that he wouldn't scratch himself until he bled. So that was extremely stressful because you literally just try every lotion, potion, remedy. I even reverted to steroid creams, but that, again, the eczema came back. So that was something as well that we were battling. I knew that there was a lot of inflammation in the body. I just didn't know what to do about it.
Yeah, eczema is stressful. It's so stressful. My youngest daughter had eczema. She didn't have it her first 12 months of her life, and when she was, finished breastfeeding, suddenly she developed eczema, and she could say itchy before she could say mum and dad. It was crazy. It was crazy. So I feel for you because I know how stressful that is. All right, so what happened? So what did you try, obviously with everything that's going on, and I know that you're such a beautiful mum and your kids are your world. And so could you just explain to me, or, to everybody, what kind of things had you been trying and what sort of things have you done to help Marcus with his journey?
Okay, so I am that type of mom that I always like to approach things in a holistic way, if possible. Things like medication and synthetic things I'll resort to as the last sort of resort. So that's always sort of my philosophy. So right away, I started researching in the gut and the brain, because that is linked to autism. I also knew that mitochondrial dysfunction is a component of autism as well. And I just basically researched ways to support him nutritionally through supplementation. And then I also use that in addition to just sort of traditional therapies. So at one point when he was about 3 years old, I think he was taking about anywhere from 10 to 15 supplements a day. Really hard to do that for a 3-year-old, as you can probably imagine. I also did vitamin B12 shots. Again, giving a child a needle once a week is pretty distressful for them, and it was just stressful for us because we knew he hated it. We also did things like sound therapy, which is extremely expensive. It's $6,000 for that type of therapy, but you've got to try. And literally I tried everything under the sun. So if I found something and it was natural and safe, I tried it. So that's sort of just the type of person that I am. And that's supporting him. I knew that there were issues going on with the gut and the brain, but then when you tie in eczema, you are trying every lotion, potion, again, remedy out there. So, I don't even want to think about how much money I've spent when it comes to eczema, but it's such a complicated thing. And it seems like everyone has it. And however, no one knows how to deal with it and how to manage it. So it's been quite the journey.
Wow. And so is that how you found LifeVantage and Pretendum and the amazing nutraceutical products that we've got? Is that how you discovered it?
So yes. So as I had mentioned earlier, I was, spent a lot of hours on the internet, sort of having that lily pad effect, when you go on one site and then it leads you to something else, that leads you to something else. And I did that for many days and weeks and whatnot. And I just had read something about reducing oxidative stress in the body and Nrf2 activation. And I did some reading. It made perfect sense. It was so logical for me anyways. And I decided to purchase it for him.
That's so exciting. And I love that you're willing to look at that science. Sometimes people look at the science side and go, oh my God, I am not having a bar of science. It's too hard. But people forget really easily that our bodies are like trillions and trillions and trillions of cells. We're not just hands. We're not just heads. We're not just bodies. We're trillions of cells, skin cells, brain cells, cardiac cells. It's crazy. And so those cells of our bodies being healthy and strong, that's what leads to everything good. So if you've got inflammation, if you've got anything else going on, of course it's going to cause havoc in the body. I love that you did that. That's really exciting. And obviously, so then you decided you were going to go ahead and use the information gained through Nutrigenomics to use this Nrf2 activation. So can you explain to us, I know people will be so curious to know, what did the first few months look like for you? Like mostly people want to know, how quickly did results, come, and what did it look like? Did you use just one product? Did you use multiple products? And how did Marcus go with like consuming those products, because that's the other issue with autism or with anyone on the spectrum. Sometimes they have those sensory issues where they just don't want to, or it's very difficult to get tablets and things in.
Yes. So I basically tried the entire line. I knew that I wanted to use it as a whole, and I also had the mindset that I would give it at least 6 months to see results. For me, it was just kind of a no-brainer. I thought, why, pick here and there? I just want to try it all, see what happens at the end of it. And, so that's Nrf1, Nrf2, ProBio, and the Axio. And I know what you mean in terms of having sensory issues. My son, super picky eater. I mean, parents out there, I feel your pain. But what I actually did and what worked for me was that I practiced with Tic Tacs in terms of swallowing pills. It's not going to work for everyone, but it worked for him. And an alternative to that is you can also crush the little pills and hide them in yogurt or applesauce and whatnot. But in terms of the changes that I saw in him, basically I just saw better brain function. His brain was functioning better. So that translated into more speech, asking questions, commenting on things, being more engaging. The eye contact was better. And so I have to say, in 3 months, his speech had increased so much in that 3 months, more so than 2 years combined. And I also wanted to mention that he was having speech therapy 2 times a week for 2 years. And it was going the right way, but very slow and steady. So it just kind of went like that. And not only myself and my husband noticed, everyone noticed that was around him. So his teachers, my brother who only sees him once in a while, my parents noticed. So we knew that we were onto something amazing.
Yes, and I love that. And, I love even more is that, you're not unique in terms of that experience, because I've heard it, like I said, 4 years in, and I've heard the exact same thing being said over and over and over. And it gets to that point where you're just like, it's a thing, you know what I mean? And, when you understand that oxidative stress is cellular damage, when you know that you've got a product that reduces cellular damage, which means the body is firing at an optimal level, then that just makes sense that it's going to help. And I've seen a picture of Marcus's drawing, before and after, and wow, Esther, that must make your heart just so happy to see the difference.
I literally almost cried. I remember walking into that school, and I walked into the classroom. He was sitting down, and I said, "Let's go." And he's like, "No, Mommy, I want to finish coloring." And he sat there for 15 minutes finishing his coloring. And that's, if you could see the difference between the two pictures, perhaps I'll send it to you, Lisa, and you can post a picture of that. But, one side is just scribbling, but the other side is actually purposeful. Like, he thought about where he wanted to color, like what colors he wanted to choose, and he's coloring in the lines. And that is a perfect example of, activating his brain, so to speak.
Oh, I love it. I love it. So it's so good, so good. And so with the Axio, Esther, did you add, because we've got 5 of the flavors there, and I know Dr. Brett Broomhall, he works with children on the spectrum all the time, and like you, he has seen some amazing results with patients who have been on these products. But he recommends the green Axio in terms of the best results for children on the spectrum. What did you use with Marcus, and how did he go with the Axio?
Yeah. So I have to admit, he didn't like it. I love the Axio, but again, picky kids, right? So unfortunately, there's only one flavor available in Canada, and that's a red raspberry. So that's what I had to work with. He took half a pack a day, and I put it in some water. And initially, I put it in his favorite juice. So I had a tiny bit of juice, some water, and then the Axio to make it more palatable for him. And that worked.
Awesome. So good. So good. And the red's a really cool flavor anyway. So, that does help. That does help. Awesome. Okay, so fast forwarding to today, can you give everybody a little bit of a snapshot into what life is like today, especially in comparison to what it was? So, you know, the differences that you've seen in Marcus, but how that relates not only to Marcus but to your family life?
Yeah. So the differences that I've seen in Marcus, he's definitely matured. Speech was his major deficit, and he is still behind comparatively, but it's really starting to pick up. And I feel like month by month, it's just getting better. And now that he is able to express himself, listen, no child is perfect. We all know that, right? But I believe that he is leading a more richer, more fulfilled life, developing meaningful relationships. And then for our family, it's translated over into our family because, of course, myself and my husband, we always worried about what his life would be like when he grew up, right? And now those worries are going away. So I'm truly thankful for this, and I'm so happy that I was able to find these products.
Oh, that is, you know, that's what we do this for, isn't it? You know, to be able to make a positive difference in someone else's life. That's huge, Esther. Thank you. So based on what your experience has been with the products and with Marcus and that, what would you say to somebody who's watching this video? Because I know we had this discussion earlier, people get bombarded. Every man and his dog thinks that they've got the thing that's going to make the biggest difference for someone else. And so the world is full of noise, and sometimes it's hard to wade out what's really genuinely valuable information. So based on your experience, what would you say to somebody who's in a similar situation watching this video right now?
Well, I would say always have an open mind, because if something can possibly help yourself or your child or a loved one, wouldn't you want to try it? For me, it just made so much sense because number one, we have science behind the products. So we have hard science. It's not hype. And, there's so many different people that have had amazing results with this product. So for what the risk is versus reward, the risk is small. It's a natural, it's a safe product, but the reward and the potential is huge. So don't let something like, some sort of hesitation on buying the product prevent you from making a decision that could potentially change somebody's life. You know what I mean? Just be open-minded, open your heart, and also think with your brain. If the information makes sense, why not give it a shot?
Yeah.
I know for myself, I wasn't introduced to these products, but I'll tell you what, I wish I was. I wish that I had known about these products years ago, but I am happy that I found them now.
Oh, Esther, thank you. Thank you so much for sharing. I know that this is something that is so near and dear to your heart. And do you know what? There's nothing that beats that feeling of knowing that someone's life is just so much better because you shared that little bit of information, or you took the time to explain something that is new. And what we're talking about, it's new. It's like nothing else that's out there, but it's exciting. And yeah, wow, it feels so good. And, I want to mention too, it is totally affordable because we talk about health and we talk about well-being, but there are a lot of families who need products and they're so outside of their price range. And so I think the affordability factor is massive. But again, like we'd said earlier, when it comes to our children, it comes to people we love, there is nothing that you wouldn't do to make sure that they have the chance at optimal health, hey?
Exactly. For me, it was a no-brainer. There was no reason why I wouldn't give this a try. Just put it that way. And I just knew that the upside was huge, and why not? I was going to give it a trial of 6 months. And if nothing happened within the 6 months, then so what? I mean, at least I tried, and I can check that off the box that I tried. And that's the point, right?
Yeah. That is so the point. That is so the point. I love it. Thank you. Thank you for your time. And thank you. You guys have got such a beautiful family. And Marcus is just adorable. He really is super cute. And for anybody who's been watching this video, please, if you got value from this, get back to the person who shared this with you to find out more about our life-changing products and the power of Nrf2 activation. Thank you again, Esther, Armata, and we will talk to you later on. Bye.
Bye.